This may be the first episode of this series where I actually enjoyed both films. What's up, ghouls and gals? Welcome back. This is now episode 4 of I Finally Watched. This is a series where I'm going back to purposely watch horror movies that I intentionally skipped for one reason or another. Today we have 2 films that I thought I would hate for various reasons, but I came out giving them a solid rating at the end. Today we are talking about Countdown from 2019 and The Guest from 2014. 2 Adam Wingard movies in a row. Our last episode of this was his remake of The Blair Witch, his continuation, whatever that was. It was not great. Anyways, he needed a redemption win after that movie, that mess. So today we're here for that. So if you enjoyed this video and this series, go ahead and give this a thumbs up, subscribe for more, check out all of my links down below if you would like to see any more of me or support the channel any further. I will leave the playlist linked down below with the previous episodes so you can catch up if you'd like. So let's begin with Countdown, an absolute surprise for me. From 2019, directed by Justin Deck, a young nurse downloads an app that tells her she only has 3 days to live. With time ticking away and a mysterious figure haunting her, she must find a way to save her life before her time runs out. For so long, I thought this was going to be just awful schlock, and don't get me wrong, it totally is, but it works. It somehow is so fun. I thought I would hate this for a few reasons. First, Tom Segura, not a fan, but his role kind of worked in this movie. And second, a horror movie about an app. This could go either way, and thankfully it did not go south entirely. I mean, for me, it kind of got lost in the sauce near the end, but the whole duration of the movie I was in. I had a great time watching it. This was a really fun Friday night watch for us. I think this would be really fun to watch at a party with a group. It's just a stupid little film. It's also the kind of film that doesn't really have a storyline that you absolutely need to be paying attention to, and I think that works for like a party setting, a group setting. It just has like fun kills, fun moments. It's a fun watch. Now, the film taps into anxiety surrounding smartphones and technology of the sort in the sense of, what if this thing in my hand could predict my death? And it does blend social commentary with the essential slasher tropes that you would want. The writer-director Justin Deck, he came up with the idea while watching a timer go off on his phone, which is hilarious because it's so relatable. We all use our phone for a stopwatch, a timer, a clock, everything. He said he imagined it actually ticking down to his own death and it freaked him out. So this started as an idea with a short film, a 5-minute short film from a few years before this was released, and then it was turned into a full-length feature. And I think with an idea like that, you really need to have a solid idea from the short film to make it the full length. Sometimes there's just not enough story there, and I think that's why spoiler alert, didn't blend with the entirety of the ending, it being a supernatural creature. I didn't like the supernatural, the creature, the thing, the element like that. But what I did like is the fact that this whole app is if you break the terms and of agreements, that's what leads to your death. You break the user agreement, you die. And it's just kind of like a satire commentary on how we all are prompted with user agreements and terms of services constantly, and we're all just like, accept. But what if there was something in those terms and services that was like, if you break any of these, you die? The promotion of the film relied heavily on like social media users and TikTokers and things like that. I feel like it's smart. It kind of blends the real life element with the app, you're more immersed when you see someone through your screen using an app on a screen. It's so meta in a way. I don't want to say that, but like in a way the promotion was. And after the trailer dropped, developers released a real life countdown app. It mimicked the actual app from the movie, and it was eventually removed from the App Store. And hilariously, it was due to policy violations. But the app obviously was not cursed, but the idea of it definitely played into what the movie is going for. The immersion. Before I get into any of this, I have to talk about the hilarious cameos in this movie. First, the not so funny. Our lead is played by Elizabeth Lail, who plays Beck in You in mostly season 1, but she does pop up again. But what is the funny part is Carlisle Cullen himself plays a predator in this movie, and it's like so I guess he was a creep in Nurse Jackie, but when we were watching this, I literally pointed at the screen. I was like, oh, Nurse Jackie! It's Peter Facinelli. If you guys obviously know who he is, but like he is like ultra disgusting creep in this movie. Like 10 out of 10 would leave poop on his door and set it on fire. And then anyways, the funny part, we have like 4 episodes left right now. We are currently watching, as before I was doing this, the show The Middle. It is my comfort watch. I love it. It has always been a comfort watch for me. So we're watching this movie, and to my surprise, Axel Heck, Charlie McDermott pops up, and I literally was like, Axel Heck, Ariana, what are you doing here? It's just so fun to see familiar faces pop up in horror. The last time I saw Charlie McDermott in a movie was Sex Drive, and unfortunately that's another one of my comfort watches. I don't really talk about comedy movies on here, but I love Sex Drive. But speaking of Peter Facinelli and Carlisle Cullen, unfortunately his character, there is a subplot where he is a predatory doctor. Now, this wasn't well received by audiences being in the film, but I appreciate it because it does bring some sort of realism to the character having to deal with something like that in her everyday life. Really does reflect broader concerns about abuses of power in society. And when you think about that and combine it with this app is literally killing you, that's an abuse of power. This demon, you're abusing your power. No. But like, not to make light of the situation, but like, I do think it does bring like a more human storyline to this unhuman movie. Anyways, it's gross, but nonetheless, it is an important storyline that shouldn't be glazed over. But anyways, for our first film, Countdown, I give it a solid 3 out of 5. It's not great, but it is super fun, and I would recommend it. And I do feel a little bad about writing it off as just another app schlock. Because it is, but it's fun.
Wake up. Yo, are you calling my name?
But let's move into another stupid late night watch, Adam Wingard's The Guest from 2014, where a soldier introduces himself to the Peterson family, claiming to be a friend of their son who died in action. And after the young man is welcomed into their home, a series of accidental deaths seem to be connected to his presence. Now, this is a really great example of action horror. It's definitely not horror, but there's something there. It felt like a true homage to 80s action horror. Wingard explained wanting to expand beyond pure horror for this movie, and he wanted to tap into the nostalgia of late-night TV thrillers and 80s genre films like Halloween and The Terminator, which there is a massive connection to The Terminator, but we'll get there. But instantly, I was thinking, and this whole film, I was kind of thinking about the documentary The Imposter, where someone just kind of assimilates themselves into another family's life, claiming that they are someone that they're not. The themes definitely felt like they connected for me, and if you haven't seen that documentary, I highly recommend it. But this movie, it feels like a dangerous guy parading as the White Knight, And you guys already know how I feel about Dan Stevens, so I mean, he was annoying to watch, but it kind of fit. It was really easy for me to dislike his character. But the bonus for this movie is Maika Monroe. She is fantastic in this movie. And the score was incredible. It felt like we were in the midst of like a Giallo film from the 80s. It was so cool and random and unexpected, and I loved it. But Dan Stevens' character, David, he plays this kind of unpredictable character. Is he a protector? Is he a threat? We don't really know. It's a little ambiguous. He's just kind of there and things happen while he's there. Now this whole thing feels like a government experimentation where he is a super soldier. He has all these power, because he's unstoppable. He is an unstoppable force. And spoiler alert, he does live at the end. You see him kind of leave in a disguise at the end where he can blend in and assimilate somewhere else. But that's where the Terminator reference comes in, because we know the Terminator is an unstoppable force. They see him as a chilling anti-hero and like whatever, I get it. They did a whole shirtless scene with him. It like warranted him gaining 25 pounds. Like, whoop-de freaking do. I don't care, Dan Stevens. Get off my screen. I'm so like turned off to that man. But this film always is open for interpretation, and there's been a lot of discussion about this film, and I'm happy I finally watched it, because there has been talks of another movie, a sequel. It felt like it was set up for a sequel, and I would be really upset if they called it The Guest 2. Like, do something like Guests, or like something cool where it's not like The Guest 2. I'm tired of movies doing blah 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 2. Stop, like, come up with something less lazy for your titles, girl. Especially like when they're in a franchise. Like, I don't like The Conjuring, Last Rites. Like, it's not like The Conjuring 4. It is, but there's a cooler name to go with it, The Guests. I'm done. Anyways, yes, I would love a sequel. Sign me up for another action-heavy horror. I actually gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Would be happy seeing Adam Wingard come back to direct. I feel like with this story and having so much time pass since then, I feel like he could really knock out a solid film in this universe. Another fun late night watch. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I promise it's not a waste of time for the score alone. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so happy to finally be watching all these movies that I put off, and I'm happy when I am so surprised at myself for liking something I truly thought I wouldn't. And that's the whole thing about this, is like, we don't yuck anyone else's yum, and maybe if you give something a chance, you might like it. I feel like we're getting into the swing of things where we are uploading Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. I think you can look forward to uploads on those days. It feels comfortable, it feels natural. Video, podcast, video. Feeling really good about that. See you for a podcast episode on Wednesday. I love you guys so much. Sayonara, Spooky Fam.